Southern California's KCAA, the #1 talk radio station in the Inland Empire.
Hey, live from the studios of KCAA Radio in sunny Southern California, part of the CNBC Financial News Network and National NBC News Network, and home to the dream of the California lifestyle. Welcome to Julie Talks Money, where money is our subject, experts are our teachers, and your financial literacy and freedom, and enjoying the lifestyle of your choice is our goal. I'm your host, Julie Phelan. Thank you for joining me today. Each week, my experts and I will bring you information on what's happening in money world and a bunch of clues, hot secrets, strategies, and a bunch of tips to help you save more money, keep your money, and grow your money, and most importantly, make more money in ways that you may never have considered or thought of being possible by yourself. From the truth behind flipping homes, to having rentals, to the new technology that is changing the way we do business and changing our wallets, to how you can make sure you have enough money for your kids' college or for your own retirement. I hope you'll find fascinating and fun information as Julie talks money with experts in real estate, stock, budgets, assets, loans, and growing your money. Today we're going to have a special guest who's going to be talking to you about retirement programs and plans. But first, I always like to start the shows off with a few little tidbits. So first of all, definitely I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are out there. Tomorrow is Father's Day. And, in a survey said what dads actually want for Father's Day, and almost half of dads want more than anything else, costs nothing more than a few minutes of your time. The answer is a phone call. Most dads would really like to have a phone call. 47% said that's what they want most on their dad's special day. So give your dad a call tomorrow. 2, the side of the bed you sleep on often reveals your favorite movie type. According to new research, people who sleep on the left side are more likely to prefer drama films, where the people who sleep on the right side are more likely to prefer action films. I have no idea why or how they came up with that, but that's just kind of a fun little tidbit, I think. Okay, 3, if you can't afford it, don't touch it. To avoid unwanted or unnecessary purchases, keep your hands off of the goods. That was the conclusion of a study in the University of Wisconsin-Madison and UCLA, and researchers wondered if touch influences the feeling of ownership and valuation of an object. They discovered that, yes, merely touching an object increases the feelings and ownership a person has for the object. This, in turn, results in a person being willing to pay more for most objects than they touch versus objects that they cannot touch. So be very careful when you're going through stores or when you're wandering anywhere, at a car lot or anything else. Don't touch it, especially if you're watching your budget and you want to make sure that you're not going to be buying those little trinkets and those tchotchkes or any larger purchases even that are going to set you back on your budgeting plan. Remember, needs, not wants, for right now. So number 4, and the last one, men doze off on company time more often than women. A study found that twice as many men as women doze off on company time. 26% of men and 13% of women catch some Z's during work hours. But we gals knew that, didn't we? Already. So this is Julie at Julie Talks Money, and in the next segment I'm going to talk about the market a little, or suggestions and info about gaining more knowledge and financial literacy. And today I'm going to challenge you. So, do you want to be comfortable? Do you want to be rich, wealthy even? Me too. And I don't want to hustle. I do want to hustle, but I don't want to hustle with side jobs or a whole bunch of other things. And I don't want to scrimp and save. I want to prosper. What about you? So the best way to get ahead and to prosper is not by saving necessarily, but by making more income and getting more income, especially if you can get some income coming into you passively. Sure, you and I can save money, and saving is great, but we save by spending less and by not buying things that we don't need to buy, like the big houses or brand new cars or other things that we don't really need, the big, huge 65-inch TV. We want them, but we don't necessarily need them. So we can also save money by using grocery store coupons. That can save up to 20% on grocery costs. So why not use that? That's like free food and free money and stuff. And you and I can save money also by buying coffee at 7-Eleven instead of Starbucks if we really need coffee in a paper cup. And who needs that? Or you can actually even, here's a thought, make it at home and take it in your own to-go cup, like I kind of do almost every single day. There's lots of ways to save, like the folks say in the Millionaires Next Door book, which is a great book, and I recommend it, but it's not necessarily the way that you really want to do stuff to get yourself to prosper. Ideally, you'll put some of that money, or all your money, but money into some kind of a savings account, or even better, an investment account. We can save and cut expenses, but it's not nearly as fun as prospering. And I am a huge believer in the philosophy that you can never, ever cut your way to prosperity. You have to bring in income and more of it. But it's kind of hard to do at this particular time, even with so-called full employment. Wages are stagnant. There's more part-time jobs than there are full-time jobs. Benefits are down, and the cost of everything from housing to utilities to gasoline to food to entertainment, and yes, even coffee, keeps going up. You know what? Look at the state of Kansas recently, and full disclosure here, I lived there for many years, and I have rental properties there because I could buy them for $40,000 and rent them out for $850 a month. But that's off the subject. I digress. Basically, in 2012, the governor at the time enacted a program of basically cut taxes, cut the size of government, and the state will thrive. Kind of like in the movie Field of Dreams, build it and they will come, right? So the state did cut taxes a lot, and some taxes for businesses went down to zero. But businesses did not thrive, nor did new businesses come into the state, nor get created. So within 3 years, the state had a deficit of $900 million, and the Kansas Supreme Court said even the public schools were funded way below the required minimums. Roads were crumbling, snowplows didn't run, universities lost funding, libraries lost funding, and healthcare went down as a result, because they weren't getting funding that they normally would get in services from the federal government. It was basically a disaster. You can't cut revenues as well as expenses and expect to prosper, much less get rich. All you will do is live poorly, and even more so as housing expenses, utility expenses, all those expenses go up, right? Because if you're just saving or you're scrimping, that's going to keep you on a level field, but you can't control some of these other things and expenses. So what do? Well, you take on extra jobs, a side hustle. You say, drive for Lyft or Uber Eats, maybe DoorDash, deliver pizzas late at night, tutor kids. But you also have to take advantage of different ways to create more income and grow it for your retirement. And you cannot just put it into a bank or a CD. Even with compound interest these days, it's not going to grow much at all. So, ever hear of the rule of 72? Sometimes people call it the rule of 7. Basically, it's a formula, a little rule that gives us a formula for how long it will take for money to double. So, let's look at right now, where banks are paying interest on savings accounts at about 1%. Yep, just over 1%, maybe 1.25%. With that formula, it would take almost 67 years to double your money. So, in real terms, let's say you put $1,000 into a savings account earning 1.25%. It would take you 67 years for you to have $2,000. So it's crazy. I don't have that time. Do you? So here's an interesting story. I love history. Ben Franklin is famous for his money making and money saving trends. You know, among other things, he said a penny saved is a penny earned, right? We've all heard that. Well, on a dare, sort of, when Franklin died in 1790, he left a plan that would enrich the cities of Boston and Philadelphia, he hoped, where he had lived in both those places. The plan was based on a concept we know as compound interest, which also included kind of the rule of 72, which is what Franklin thought would make Boston and Philadelphia very wealthy cities in a couple of hundred years. So in part of his will, Benjamin Franklin left 1,000 pounds, which is just about under $5,000, each to Boston and Philadelphia, with some restrictions in the will. Both cities were to invest the money at an interest rate of 5%, compounded yearly, and they were to leave it untouched for 100 years. At the end of 100 years, the city was allowed to spend 3/4 of it on city improvement projects, and the rest was to be reinvested for another 100 years, again at the same interest rate of 5%. So Franklin estimated his donation would end up in just 100 years increasing by more than $650,000, and then at the end of 200 years, each city would have over $21 million in their investment fund. That's pretty cool, right? If you can let it grow, or 100 or 200 years, that's awesome. Unfortunately, though, because of tough times during those 200 years and a lot of fluctuating rates of interest, both from Philadelphia and Boston and the country, it became difficult for them to get a good 5% interest rate each year. So as a result, after 200 years, the Boston Fund, instead of $21 million, had only $5 million, and Philadelphia, which invested it differently, was only able to collect about $2.5 million in their fund. So here's the moral of the story, kind of. Money can definitely make you money passively, and you should take advantage of that. But not in banks. Not at today's rates of just over 1%. And even if you were to get a 5% increase or a 5% interest rate, that's still no guarantee that even after 100 years, you'd have a heck of a lot of money. You have to do different things and take different steps. You can't just be like the gambler in Vegas who puts money on the table and then says, let it ride, right? Thinking that's going to make you money. You have to pay attention to it and figure out ways to grow it. And that's what Julie Talks Money is all about. So my hope is that you really got to listen to me, Julie Phelan, and my experts here at Julie Talks Money to learn how to really save and grow and keep your money. And then know where to save it to get a decent return and investments that can create that return. So one of the ways that you can do that is with your retirement account, and especially a self-directed retirement account or IRA. My special guest today founded and runs her own company in Orange County called UDirect IRA Services, and she'll talk with us about what they are and how they work and how they can help you a ton when we come back. This is Julie Talks Money. If you have questions, call me at 909-792-5222, our call-in line, 909-792-5222, and stick with me. We'll be right back.
If you want to sell your home, any agent can put a sign in your yard. Which agent is going to actually sell your home for the most money? Well, it's Rudy Kasuma. Rudy will sit down with you. You agree on a price and a deadline. If the deadline passes and the home isn't sold, he will buy your home guaranteed. If your house doesn't sell, Rudy will buy it as is for a price acceptable to you. Rudy sold a home in the San Gabriel Valley for $22,000 over asking price after only 10 days on the market. Call Rudy Kasuma now, 855-RUDY-SELLS. That's 855-783-9735. Or go to rudyhasthebuyers.com. That's rudyhasthebuyers.com.
We all know money doesn't grow on trees, but you can grow your wealth every Saturday at 11 a.m. with Julie Phelan. Julie and her guests have a wealth of knowledge to help you gain more wealth. Your financial future can be bigger than your past. If you need to build fast cash or passive income or long-term wealth, each Saturday at 11 a.m. for Julie Talks Money, right here on NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. And now on Alexa, play KCAA.
Hey everybody, this is Julie Phelan from Julie Talks Money. If you're looking to get started in real estate investing, but you're not quite sure how, or where you find property, or how you'll be able to fund it, call my friend Anna at Citywide Funding and Realty. There you can find discounted properties like foreclosures, bank-owned properties, and commercial properties every week. Anna will also provide you with the way to buy them with special loans. Maybe you'd only have to put 10% down. Call her to get qualified and find out how you can get into the real estate investing game. Let Citywide Funding be your one-stop shop to find, buy, and fund your first or your next investment deal or business. Call Anna at 310-985-9074. That's 310-985-9074. Citywide Funding, 310-985-9074. Get qualified today. And welcome back to Julie Talks Money here on KCAA Radio, AM 1050, part of the CNBC Financial News Network and the National News Network for NBC. I am here with a guest, Karen Hall, who is the founder and president of UDirect IRA Services. I've known Karen for I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 years, maybe 10, through the different networking that I have done. And I know her to be a fantastic woman and investor, and I love women who have businesses and things. In the midst of a recession and mortgage market collapse, Karen founded and made a resounding success of UDirect IRA Services. As a single mom, she discovered a strategic way to put her 20 years of mortgage banking, real estate, and property management to use. Definitely with the IRA services, it was a very lacking niche, I guess you'd say, in the market that she has filled most brilliantly. Karen was at Bank of America, IndyMac, and had her own mortgage brokerage, but she, like me, believes that financial literacy is really important, and IRAs and self-directed IRAs are a great way to help with retirement. Thanks for joining me today, Karen. I appreciate your time.
Really happy to be here.
So delighted. So I guess the first thing that everybody wants to know is, what is the difference between IRAs? You got an introduction to IRAs. If you give us a little background.
Sure. An IRA, I think we all know what that is. It's an individual retirement arrangement, account, what have you. But basically what it is an amazing tool that lets you save for retirement. I'll tell you what, it's coming at you like a freight train, so we all need to save.
Isn't that the truth? So I've heard different things. There's a regular traditional IRA, and I know you can go ahead and just even open one of those online if you wanted to with Fidelity or something. And then there's also a Roth IRA, and then the self-directed IRA. What's the difference between them? Let's start with the traditional and the Roth, if you would.
Yeah, so whether you open your account with UDirect IRA Services or Fidelity or whatever, an IRA is an IRA. The rules are the same. The only thing, what makes the self-directed IRA different is the kind of asset that you can put into the account. So think of an IRA like a bucket, and the assets, are things that you can put into that bucket. So again, with a self-directed IRA bucket, you're putting in, tax liens or real estate or maybe precious metals or something like that. So an IRA is an IRA. The rules are the same whether it's self-directed or not.
Okay, and with a traditional IRA, my understanding is that the money goes in tax deferred, and with the Roth, you pay the tax up front, and then the money goes in, that's after tax, is that right?
Yeah, generally speaking, with a traditional IRA is, you're right, you put in a pre-tax dollars, and then your money grows tax deferred, and it's taxable when you take it out. With a Roth, typically speaking, the money goes in after tax money. You don't get a tax deduction for making a contribution. The money grows tax-free, and as long as you meet two qualifying requirements, then the money comes out tax-free for life as well.
So that's really kind of a neat thing. I had a client, actually not a client, but an accountant, who said sometimes you can say that it depends if you plan to be having less income when you're older or more income might determine which IRA you want. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's really true, because when you are in your 70s, 70 and a half is when you have to take what's called an RMD, or required minimum distribution. And when you're 70 and a half, you may not have a lot of tax deductions like you do when you've got children and you're putting kids through school and so forth. So it may be that you're taxed at a higher rate when you're older, or maybe not. So it all depends upon your situation, and we always have to ask our tax advisor to guide us in what IRA is best for us.
Yeah, definitely, because neither you nor I give legal advice, tax advice, or anything else, just opinions, right? You can also tell people how to structure an IRA and what to do with it, but as far as giving advice, my understanding is that you cannot tell them what to invest in, or can't tell people or direct them to certain investments, right?
That's right. We're not financial advisors. We don't endorse particular investments, but we sure do help people self-direct.
So tell me again, what's the difference between that and me going to Merrill Lynch or Fidelity or TD Ameritrade or any of the other companies or even my local bank to open an IRA? Do they?
Sure. Well, yeah, you can open an IRA, and believe me, you should be saving for retirement no matter what you're doing. But the difference is that those companies that you've mentioned won't help you invest outside of the stock market. They will only help you invest in what's called correlated assets related or correlated with the stock market. So if you wish to, take control of your own IRA and invest outside the stock market, that's when a self-directed IRA can help you.
And if you are with them and they're directing or they're putting the money into the stock market, who's controlling which stocks or which funds or anything else that the money goes into?
Exactly. Who's controlling it? And we don't know that person. It's some fund manager who we don't know. So then we're trusting a stranger's decisions, with our retirement account. So there are a lot of pros and cons to both kinds of accounts, whether you're going to have an account in the stock market or outside the stock market. A self-directed IRA just gives you a choice. You don't have to put the money in stock market assets.
Oh, that's kind of nice, because I know that I have in the past had a 401k, or I've had other brokerage accounts, and it was in the stock market, and even mutual funds. That was a very common way to invest when you're starting out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can pick the mutual fund, but you don't really know what's in the stock, what stocks are in that mutual fund, right?
Yeah, you can usually, dig down to it and find out, but I think the point is that there are some assets that may, what we say is, I'll put it this way in the industry, is invest in what you know best. And maybe what you know best is maybe real estate. Like I know, Julie, I know you know real estate best. And so if that's the kind of asset class that you best know, well, maybe you should invest in assets that you understand. Because these are precious dollars. I mean, the money that you save, every dollar that you earn is so precious, and it's hard to, especially in Southern California, make ends meet. So, that money is really, really special and precious. So what you need to do is invest in assets that you know and understand for the best possible outcome.
Karen, I'm so glad you said that because I absolutely agree. And as we were talking about, you can't just have something in a savings account. It's not going to grow where you want it to. And you have to find the different asset classes that you like. I also, years ago, when I was starting out in investing, I had the job and had the other stuff, was investing regularly into a stock market, stock mutual funds, or whatever my account was with a company at that time. I ended up doing a little bit of borrowing against the margin, the account value, because things kept going up. And then I had what's known as a margin call, and I'm sure you know what that is. For our listeners, that's like, oh, you borrowed too much, now the stock went way down, you have to, pay us back and sell. Essentially, what I had to do was sell almost all my stocks because the value of my portfolio dropped by about 40% overnight. So,
wow, that's frightening, and that's not when you've got self-directed IRA assets, they may too have expenses. So that's something to keep in mind. We always say begin with the end in mind, right? Like Stephen Covey said. So you definitely want to pencil out all your anticipated expenses. Whether you're borrowing on a margin with stock related or with market related assets, or maybe you've got a house in your IRA, and that kind of an asset is also going to have expenses.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to talk to you about that in a second. But the main thing that I was trying to say too is that it was just out of my control. A lot of it was out of my control. What happened because of the stock market versus the other assets and the asset classes and stuff. So now that was back when I had a 401k with the employer matching some money a little bit. And I'm a firm believer in take whatever you can from the employer because that's free money, right? And to match it.
Yes, it is.
Can I do a self-directed 401k as an independent person or self-employed?
If you're self-employed and you have no full-time employees in any of the companies you own, then you're eligible for what's called a solo 401k. I think it's really just called a 401k, but I mean there's some jargon words for it. Solo 401k is the way it's often described. So it's again a 401k for a self-employed person who has no full-time employees in any of the companies they own. It has a lot of bells and whistles. It's a pretty cool thing if you know how to use it, and we do, and we can certainly help you with it.
Do I have to have a company in order to do that?
You do. I mean, well, you don't have to be incorporated. You could be a sole proprietor. You could have an S corp, C corp, LLC, what have you. But you do need to be self-employed and have income.
I'm sure that has something to do with wonderful government regulations.
Well, yeah. There's no lack of regulations when it comes to retirement accounts. That's for sure. Now,
with the Roth IRA, just going back to that for a second, do you have to have that same required minimum distribution at age 70 and a half?
You don't. A Roth IRA doesn't have an RMD unless, and this is something that can be kind of surprising to people, unless it is the Roth bucket of a 401k. The Roth 401k dollars, you do take an RMD. Roth IRA dollars, you do not take an RMD.
Oh, that sounds like another one of those specific things you have to have an expert make the distinction on.
Yeah, and that's what we're an expert in helping you with some of with your questions. Like how do I do this? How do I do this? But nothing replaces the expert advice of your personal tax advisor.
Sure. Now, is there an annual contribution limit between the two? Is it the same or different?
Yeah, actually, this year, 2019, the limits went up for the first time in 5 years. So if you're 49 or younger, you can contribute $6,000 a year. If you're 50 or above, it's $7,000 a year. And so understand that is for all your traditional and Roth IRAs combined. So if you have one traditional account, one Roth account, you can only contribute, and you're under 50, you can only contribute $6,000 to both accounts combined. Not $6,000 to one and $6,000 to the other, but $6,000 to both combined. So there are definitely limits on how much you can contribute, but the good news is there is no cap on the proceeds that your IRAs can earn.
That's good, although it's kind of limiting, it seems like, where you can't put as many retirement dollars away as you could before. if I'm understanding you right.
No. You can put away more than before. The limits increased on how much you can put away, how much you can contribute. That increased this year. Again, it increased for the first time in 5 years, so it's been a while. But the IRS wants the tax revenue on your income, and so basically what they're doing is saying, look, we'll wait and hold off our ability to tax you on this money until later on, if you will save for your retirement.
Gotcha. Okay, we have to take a quick break, so stick with us if you would. And if you have any questions, you want to talk to Karen and ask her some questions, or me, call in at 909-792-5222. That's 909-792-5222. 909-792-5222. This is Julie Phelan, your host of Julie Talks Money at KCAA 1050 AM Radio. We'll be right back.
If you want to sell your home, any agent can put a sign in your yard. Which agent is going to actually sell your home for the most money? Well, it's Rudy Kasuma. Rudy will sit down with you. You agree on a price and a deadline. If the deadline passes and the home isn't sold, he will buy your home, guaranteed. If your house doesn't sell, Rudy will buy it as is for a price acceptable to you. Rudy sold a home in the San Gabriel Valley for $22,000 over asking price after only 10 days on the market. Call Rudy Kasuma now, 855-RUDY-SELLS. That's 855-783-9735. Or go to rudyhasthebuyers.com. That's rudyhasthebuyers.com.
We all know money doesn't grow on trees, but you can grow your wealth every Saturday at 11 a.m. with Julie Phelan. Julie and her guests have a wealth of knowledge to help you gain more wealth. Your financial future can be bigger than your past. If you need to build fast cash or passive income or long-term wealth, each Saturday at 11 a.m. for Julie Talks Money, right here on NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. And now on Alexa, play KCAA.
Hey everybody, this is Julie Phelan from Julie Talks Money. If you're looking to get started in real estate investing, but you're not quite sure how or where you find property or how you'll be able to fund it, call my friend Anna at Citywide Funding and Realty. There you can find discounted properties like foreclosures, bank-owned properties, and commercial properties every week. Anna will also provide you with the way to buy them with special loans. Maybe you'd only have to put 10% down. Call her to get qualified and find out how you can get into the real estate investing game. Let Citywide Funding be your one-stop shop to find, buy, and fund your first or your next investment deal or business. Call Anna at 310-985-9074. That's 310-985-9074. Citywide Funding, 310-985-9074. Get qualified today. And you're back with Julie Talks Money. I'm your host, Julie Phelan, and I have a special guest today, Karen Hall, who's the president and founder of UDirect IRA Services. We're talking about self-directed IRAs and how you can use those compared to traditional IRAs in order to grow your money in a different way and not just have it passively sitting in an IRA. So thanks for being with me, Karen. Again, appreciate it.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. You know, with self-directed IRAs, you can self-direct a traditional, a Roth, a SEP, a simple, a spousal, an inherited IRA, a 401k. So many different kinds of accounts can be self-directed, which I think is just so exciting.
I think that's exciting, too, and most people don't even know that there are that many kinds of IRAs or that you can do a self-directed 401k and the inherited one. I want to come back to that in a minute. But when we left before the break, you started talking about something for a house, you know, an IRA for a house. Now, I know that with a 401k, you can normally borrow money out of it in order to make a down payment on a house that you're going to live in, and whether that's good or bad is something we talk about in another show, but it's definitely a possibility. What are the rules on an IRA? Can you do that also for a house you're going to live in?
You can, okay, first off, with a self-directed IRA, you would only use a self-directed IRA to invest in property, investment property. A self-directed IRA is never used to invest in property that you would live in. So with that said, when you've got a 401k, regardless of whether or not it's self-directed or not, all 401ks let you borrow $50,000 or 50% of the account value, whichever is less. So that is pretty cool because then you can do that. You have to pay yourself back, of course, pay yourself back over a 5-year period, but you can borrow that money. With IRAs, you can't borrow from an IRA. Really, the best you can do is take a withdrawal, have it for 60 days. You've got 60 days to put it back in before it becomes taxable to you. And even at that, you can only do that once every 12 months. So you can't really borrow. You're not going to take a loan from an IRA, but you can take a loan from a 401k.
And with an IRA, don't you have a 10% penalty also if you take money out?
Again, after 60 days, it would be taxable with penalty if you're under 59.5. That's correct.
Well, and I don't know how many people would be able to pay a down payment or repay a down payment in 60 days. You know, you make a down payment, you're planning on staying in the house. Well, what if I wanted to pay all cash? Can I take the money out of my IRA? And let's say maybe I have a renter who I think is going to be paying me a certain amount of rent, and then I can call that something that's in my IRA as an investment, even if I have possession?
No, it wouldn't work like that at all. It wouldn't work that way.
Tell me why not. I tell all our listeners why not.
Yeah, sure. So when you've got a self-directed IRA, first off, what you're doing is you're using it to invest. What you're not going to do is commingle in your own personal funds with your IRA funds to invest. You're not going to be doing that because there are prohibited transactions. You have to steer clear of having any personal benefit from your IRA money today. Self-directed IRA money is all for later. It's all for retirement. So you would not co-invest your own personal money with your IRA money. But hey, it's so great if you do find a property that you want to invest in, you've got IRA money, you can get into that property, either by yourself if you have enough in your IRA, or you can partner with someone. And it is even possible for an IRA to borrow money. It's a special kind of loan, but it is possible for an IRA itself to take out a loan.
Really? That's interesting. I'm not aware of that. Tell me, how does that work?
Yeah, it's called a non-recourse loan. Now, non-recourse in the real estate industry means a lot of things, but in this case, it's like a commercial loan. It's not made to you, the account holder, the IRA owner. It's made to the IRA account. So it is not about your FICO or how much money you have in the bank, but it's about the property. It's about its location, its condition, but primarily its cash flow. And so there are lenders that will lend money to the IRA, and then your IRA can go ahead and buy real estate with that. But understand, IRAs are special, and if your IRA does borrow money, the proceeds that your IRA earns because of debt will be taxable, and that is a bit of a conversation. But the tax is called unrelated debt financed income tax, and you can read about it on the IRS's website, which is irs.gov, and look up Publication 598, and it tells you about that tax.
Are you talking debt, D-E-B-T, debt financed?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, correct. Unrelated debt financed income tax, special kind of tax that IRAs face if your IRA earns proceeds from borrowed money.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I had a friend a while ago who told me that they could use their IRA, they believed, to buy collectible cars, because they were really into the whole car collection, kind of like Jay Leno is. And also they were really into wines, and they were buying a lot of fine and expensive wines. Could you legitimately use your IRA as an investment for those kinds of things?
You literally could not do that. You could not do that.
What? No.
Yeah, I know. And it was 1974 when they thought up IRAs. IRAs were really effective in 1975, so 44 years, right?
Wow.
And when the IRS came out with these IRAs, they didn't say what you can invest in. They just said what you can't invest in. And the two things you can't invest in with an IRA are collectibles and life insurance. So life insurance and collectible cars are just no-go. You just don't invest IRA funds in those two assets.
What about wine?
Wine is a collectible. I think few too many wine collections became bottle collections, and they just said, hey, no more, no mas.
Right. And it was also personal use, and I thought that was one of the restrictions also.
Yeah, you don't have personal use of the assets. For example, your IRA does not make a loan to your company so that you can do business. That would be personal use and personal benefit. And there are just other kinds of rules like that to steer clear of, and that's what we're expert in here at UDirect.
Oh, that's great. Let's go back to the property and the investment thing, because I'm a big believer in that. And I also know that there's some people who have, I know a lot of people actually, who have self-directed IRAs, and partly because they want to buy real estate. So let's say that I find a piece of property that I'm interested in, and I want to put it in my IRA, but the seller wants me to close really fast almost like a cash sale, but it's not necessarily a cash sale, but maybe leaving the down payment fast. How can I do that with the self-directed IRA?
Well, when you've got a self-directed IRA, it's a three-step process. First, you get it open. Once it's open, you fund it, and you fund it by transferring the money, say, from a 401k or another IRA, and then you can invest. So the fastest I've ever seen an investment go down with a self-directed IRA is 4 days. I think that.
Wow, that's very fast.
Yeah, it is super fast. But when you're purchasing property, you want to think about it. I mean, there's no such thing as a 4-day escrow, really, because you know they've got to look at it. So if you've got an account that's open and there's money in it, there's no reason that it will take too long to get that invested. You can still close very quickly. Even like a 1-week escrow is possible if the money is already in your self-directed IRA.
What about writing a check from it?
Right. Well, in order to write a check, you don't write the check from the IRA. You write the check from what's called a special purpose LLC. But
it is possible to write a check. Something.
It is.
And use my IRA money?
Yes, and so what your IRA would do is basically have formed a special purpose LLC. And we can go into some depth on that, but it's a special purpose LLC, sometimes called a checkbook IRA. Your IRA first buys that asset. So your IRA acquires 100% of the initial units of that LLC, and now your IRA becomes, the member of the LLC, and now you can write checks from that LLC. It is possible to do that, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like a wonderful kind of a tool you can use or mechanism for getting property and getting it fast.
Well, you don't have to use it. With great power comes great responsibility. It's a tool, there are pros and cons to using it, but it is something that is, that you can do. It was founded or created after a court case called Swanson versus Commissioner in 1996. And so that is where you can, read more about it, or you just, give us a call. We'll talk to you more about the IRA-owned LLC.
So is there any specific tax advantage to that, or is it more of a tax shelter?
It's neither. It's because the IRA owns the LLC, so basically what it is it's just an extension of the IRA. So you get all the same tax treatment as you do, it's with an IRA, just using an LLC as a vehicle for investing. So there's no special tax treatment.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So basically you would just have it and use it the way you would use the self-directed IRA for anything else, and buy the property and have the property go in it and not expect to get any specific gains. It's just basically for the purpose, I should say, of having your investment in there.
You're right. But when you've got the IRA-owned LLC and you've got that, you have to be very, very careful not to commit what's called a prohibited transaction. And you can read about prohibited transactions in the Internal Revenue Code. It's IRC, Internal Revenue Code 4975, that discusses prohibited transactions. And basically, you want to keep your investments in an IRA arm's length. You don't get to have any personal benefit from them. And guess what? There are people who are disallowed to your IRA. They are your lineal ascendants and descendants. So your IRA, self-directed IRA, doesn't do business with your parents, grandparents, you and your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, and their spouses. Your IRA, those are disallowed people. So your IRA can't benefit them today. Your IRA doesn't invest with them, typically, and it's all arm's length from those disallowed persons.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So tell us, too, let's say that I buy a rental property and I have the rental income coming in from that. Can I use that myself?
I think it's important to know that 100% of the proceeds from your IRA investments must go back into the IRA that owns the assets. So that is super important because, of course, what you're doing here, and the whole purpose of an IRA is to save for later, save for retirement. So all that money must go back into the IRA. And, of course, you can withdraw it if you wish, but when you withdraw it, you'll face taxes and penalties.
And like you said, it kind of defeats the purpose of having the money in the retirement account, right? Because we're trying to grow it. Yeah, and we're trying to get the good return.
Exactly. You get tax favored treatment because you're saving for retirement. And that is just, I have to say for a second here how crucially important it is to save for retirement. We've got a retirement crisis in America. I mean, not to be, too serious about it, but hey, we all know we need to retire, and we know we don't get to live for free. And the thing of it is we're living longer.
Right.
So we should all be our own best friend and start, even just after you listen to this podcast, go write yourself a check and contribute to your IRA so you've got more when you retire, so you've got something to retire on. I mean,
that's a great idea. Even if you do have a side hustle, take that money and put that into your retirement account. Don't live on that, too. To me, that's one of the reasons you would have a second job or a side hustle, as people like to say, or an extra gig, right?
You have to. You really you have to do something so that you have money during the years when you're no longer able to earn. Incredibly important.
It is. I agree completely, and that's one of the reasons that we're talking to you, because you can have more money, and we want to grow it, keep it safe. So we have to take another little break, and then we've got a caller who's called in who's got a couple questions for you, Karen. So stick with me, okay? And we'll call right back. This is Julie at Julie Talks Money at KCAA 1050 AM radio, part of the CNBC National Financial Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you want to sell your home, any agent can put a sign in your yard. Which agent is going to actually sell your home for the most money? Well, it's Rudy Kasuma. Rudy will sit down with you. You agree on a price and a deadline. If the deadline passes and the home isn't sold, he will buy your home guaranteed. If your house doesn't sell, Rudy will buy it as is for a price acceptable to you. Rudy sold a home in the San Gabriel Valley for $22,000 over asking price after only 10 days on the market. Call Rudy Kasuma now, 855-RUDY-SELLS. That's 855-783-9735. Or go to rudyhasthebuyers.com. That's rudyhasthebuyers.com.
We all know money doesn't grow on trees, but you can grow your wealth every Saturday at 11 a.m. with Julie Phelan. Julie and her guests have a wealth of knowledge to help you gain more wealth. Your financial future can be bigger than your past. If you need to build fast cash or passive income or long-term wealth, each Saturday at 11 a.m. for Julie Talks Money, right here on NBC Radio, KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. And now on Alexa, play KCAA.
Hey everybody, this is Julie Phelan from Julie Talks Money. If you're looking to get started in real estate investing, but you're not quite sure how or where you find property or how you'll be able to fund it, call my friend Anna at Citywide Funding and Realty. There you can find discounted properties like foreclosures, bank-owned properties, and commercial properties every week. Anna will also provide you with a way to buy them with special loans. Maybe you'd only have to put 10% down. Call her to get qualified and find out how you can get into the real estate investing game. Let Citywide Funding be your one-stop shop to find, buy, and fund your first or your next investment deal or business. Call Anna at 310-985-9074. That's 310-985-9074. Citywide Funding, 310-985-9074. Get qualified today. And welcome back to Julie Talks Money. I'm your host, Julie Phelan, and I am with Karen Hall, who is the founder and president of UDirect IRA Services, and we're talking about retirement accounts and how to do different things to have your money grow, especially through a self-directed IRA. Thanks again for being with me, Karen.
Oh, thank you, Julie.
That's great. So just real quickly, before we get to the caller we've got, I wanted to ask you about the inherited IRA that you mentioned before. Tell us a little about that. How does that work?
Well, first off, if someone passes away and you are the beneficiary of their IRA, the first thing you want to do is pick up the phone and talk to a tax advisor, because there are a lot of decisions to make. Do you want to take 100% withdrawal of it? If it's a spouse who passed away, you can take that money pretty much as your own and move it into your own IRA. Or do you want to take it over a 5-year period? There are choices you need to make. So basically what an inherited IRA is an IRA where someone has passed away and you are the beneficiary of their IRA account.
So can I roll it into my own account and defer the taxes on it still, like I would a regular IRA?
Only if the deceased is a spouse. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, then what you would do is you could self-direct that IRA, that inherited IRA, but you would still need to take required minimum distributions on the deceased's, based on the deceased's lifespan. In other words, there's an RMD table, a required minimum distribution table, and there are factors. So you would use a factor of the deceased person. Sorry, hopefully that's not too technical, but if this happens to you, you just definitely want to call a tax person and say, "Hey, I inherited an IRA. What are my choices?" But they are self-directable. Let's put it that way. If someone passes away, it is possible that you could self-direct those funds and use those funds to invest in alternative assets.
Right, and add to mine. No, that's great. Now, I understand that you also have, or host, I don't know which it is, a real estate investment club or a club for investors. And would I find a tax attorney at your club, possibly?
Oh, I bet you probably would. Yeah, the club is called OC-REIA, Orange County Real Estate Investors Association, Orange County, California, and we are having a good time. We just had our meeting this past Thursday, and it was wonderful. We had Leonard Barron speak. He's an expert on how to do due diligence, and I'll tell you what, smart investing is all about due diligence, and so it was just wonderful to have him, to have him there and speak and teach us more about what we really need to know. So every month it's a different speaker that teaches us about real estate investing.
Now, what if I went to your club and I said, okay, I've got a great deal and I'm looking for somebody who's got some private money and maybe they can invest in it. Can you tell me who to go to, Karen?
Well, I don't necessarily do that because with self-directed IRAs, there's IRAs, they're self-directed, and we don't recommend or endorse investments. But when you're there, you're going to be networking, meeting people, and that's what it's all about. It's all about meeting other people, and we have about 50 to 100 people at every meeting, and everyone there is a real estate investor. So chances are you'll find somebody interested in your deal.
That's great. And if I have some money that I want to put into a deal, can I say, Karen, I have got some money. Can you tell me who to give it to or recommend anybody?
No, I can't do that. I really can't. But if you go to our investment events and our networking events and so forth, you're going to meet a lot of people who can help you with that question.
And I can vouch for the fact that they're fun and they've got some really good networking opportunities, especially when you have the different venues at restaurants and clubs. So we're going to go into the caller that we've got now. Unless we've got a couple questions for you. Are you there, caller?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your name?
Mark.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm out in Redlands, and thought I never was going to get through to you guys.
I'm so glad that you called and that you did get through. So you've got a question for Karen about retirement?
I'm an engineer and 60 years old. I know I sound like I'm 18, but and I've been working at my business. I've been working out in El Segundo for 35 years, and I have a 401k now. What I was thinking is, and you guys brought this up, somebody told me I could do this, but I didn't really believe them, because I'm thinking of starting a consulting firm instead of retiring at 65, because I could just retire at 65 and play golf all day, but I was thinking that maybe I could start a small engineering firm, because I have some specialties that I have, and create a consulting firm. Can I get that... what would be the best way to go? The 401k, the IRA, the Roth. I have $500,000 in my 401k.
That's amazing. Well, the answer to that is that when you have retirement money, you can invest, but you're not allowed to have personal benefits. So investing in a company that you own would be a prohibited transaction. So unless you withdraw that money and take personal possession of it, you would not be investing that into a company that you own. Now, there is something out there that you can look into called the ROBS model, ROBS, which is an acronym for Rollover Business Startup. You can check that out. It's not an IRA. It's a more complicated situation, but it is possible that you could use the money through a ROBS arrangement to fund your business, but it would not be an IRA.
Okay. Well, the other thing that is, what if I just started the business? Could I set up a 401k?
Absolutely, you could.
Then could I roll over this money? Because it's a lot of money. I don't want to leave it at my employer.
And you can roll over the money. Yes, you can roll over the money into your new 401k. You absolutely can. Okay.
Now, the other thing is, unfortunately, I was a junior high school teacher for about 10 years.
Unfortunately? Okay.
Well, I don't know if you've ever dealt with 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, but...
well, I had two of my own, so yeah, but long term, I got you there.
Okay, but I had them from 8 to 3 every day. Anyway, I have a TSA, and they call it tax-sheltered annuity, and John Hancock sold it to me, and I have about $50,000 in that thing. Is there anything I can do with that, or do I just got to hang in there along with my STIRS Actually, they send me a letter every year to tell me I should get out of my STRS, which I have about $25,000 in there. But what can I do with this TSA? I mean, I don't want an insurance contract, but they basically told me that's all I can do with this thing. And I don't work there anymore. You know what I mean?
Right. So what you need to do is see if it's if it was within the 401k, but and when you've got an annuity, there are often big exit fees. So what you need to do is talk to them about what your options are, and they can help you. So you call the plan administrator for these programs, and you say, hey, this is I've got these programs, and I've got this money invested. What can I do with it? And they will let you know what your options are.
So I could roll it over, couldn't I?
You could, as long as it was tax protected. And I don't know about the tax sheltered annuity, if that was actually in the 401k or a separate asset, maybe in a separate investment.
It's not in a 401k. It's a teacher retirement account.
I understand. So
it's in
basically,
a 403b. Yeah. So it is a retirement account, voluntary contribution account.
Okay, well, a 403b and a 401k and a 457, all those kinds of accounts. Once you leave the service of your employer, you can roll those funds over into a self-directed IRA.
Okay, because I called my John Hancock guy, and he said, just leave it in here because you get a nice guaranteed return on the annuity. But, I'm a little suspicious of that. So I got $50,000 in there, and, I'm thinking I could do something better based on what you guys were just talking about.
Right, invest in asset classes that you know. So you can absolutely roll it over. And, I'd love to talk to you about that further.
Okay, well, good. I appreciate this show. It's a good thing that, anyway, yeah, I like this show. I was listening to that T show for a minute, but this is a lot more fun. So anyway, thank you. Is it Julie?
Yeah, this is Julie.
Is it Julie Talks Money? Is that the name of this show?
That is. It's Julie Talks Money. And I appreciate your call, Mark. Thanks so much for checking in and talking with us. Bye-bye. And so with Karen Hall. And thanks so much, Karen. Now, how can somebody get hold of you?
Well, they can email us at info@udirectira.com. So info@udirectira.com. Or they can call us toll-free at 866-447-6598. So it's 866-447-6598. And we're called UDirect IRA Services.
And that's spelled with the letter U, not Y-O-U, correct?
That's right, the letter U, you betcha.
I want to make sure people get to the right spot and stuff. And, of course, if you have any questions for me or for my guest at any time, especially Karen, you can always contact me at julietalksmoney@gmail.com. That's julietalksmoney@gmail.com, or call me at 951-327-8108. Yeah, that's a new phone number. It's 951-327-8108. 951-327-8108. And then you can also talk to me about how to get in touch with Karen directly. I'll make an introduction with Karen and UDirect IRA Services. I really appreciate your taking the time and giving us so much information, Karen. You're a wealth and a fountain of information. And I have seen your website, and I know that there's a tremendous amount on there as well. So I think that you were probably one of the most thorough people that I have seen, making it in a really simple process for people to fill out application forms, fill out whatever forms they need. And just one last thing, UDirect, now, did they operate as a consultant? Well, you said not a consultant. So you're basically just like a, not administrator, what's the word? All of a sudden I'm thinking for custodian.
We're a third-party administrator of self-directed IRAs. We use the services of a trust company custodian, and we've been in business. Guess what, Julie? You'll be surprised to hear this. This is our 10th year in business.
Hey, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Helped thousands and thousands of people self-direct. So it's been a great ride.
Okay, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I look for 10 or 20 or more. Again, this is Julie Talks Money, KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, part of the CNBC National Financial News Network, Finance Network. And I appreciate Karen Hall, my guest from UDirect. Tune in next week. We'll be talking about stocks and bonds and stock clubs. Until then, have a most prosperous week.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 a.m. The